But for me, I'm hearing it.
Thank you very much for today. We are now starting our 2 sessions. I think Teacher Elizabeth is ready for starting with her presentation. Then later we'll have Fred Kavanda for presenting. Teacher Elizabeth, now the microphone.
Thank you, Mr. Jean-Marie. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for giving me a platform to share once again. I'm going in for the writing skill. So let me share my screen with you. It doesn't seem full yet.
Yes, it's clear.
But
And
it's
you
not
can
full.
zoom.
Is it full? Does it appear like it's a full screen?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure it does. It's
If you click on slideshow at the top and then from beginning, then it'll be the full screen. Can you see slideshow on the top line?
Slideshow. No?
On the orange line at the top, slideshow.
I can see stop sharing. That is all. Slideshow.
No,
Orange.
up from file, home, insert, design, translation, animation, then slideshow.
Okay, yes. Slideshow.
Yes.
I can see that.
Then you click at it.
The same line as file at the top on the orange line, the top
I
line
can
of
see
the
file, home.
yeah. Go along
yeah,
to the
you're
right, slideshow.
Slideshow.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then from beginning on the left-hand side. From beginning.
Yes,
That's it.
I'm right there. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes. Okay, well done. Great.
Okay. Developing effective writing skills. That is what we are going in for right now. Session objectives. By the end of this session, participants should be able to describe effective writing skills, describe activities one can use while teaching writing. Let's have a pre-session discussion. Number one, what kind of writing do you think most of us do nowadays? Please, by show of hands, we are so many, we can't all unmute and talk at the same time. So by show of hands, what kind of writing do you think most of us do nowadays? This is a pre-session discussion. Can I see a hand up, please? Please, people share, what kind of writing do you think most of us do nowadays? What is that kind of writing that is known to most of us? Yes, please. I'm Imable.
Yes, I'm Imable.
Yes, please.
The types of writing that we are dealing now, of course, we have 2 different kinds of letters and somehow essays.
And?
Essays and letters.
Oh, essays, letters. Thank you very much. Okay. Yep. And the commonest things that we usually do these days are writing a text message, an SMS, a letter, a formal or informal letter. Number 2 is writing in university and outside university different. And why do you think it's different? By show of hands, please. Who thinks writing in university and outside university is different? This is a warm-up to our writing session. We just need to know a little bit about writing, what we usually do to kind of familiarize the topic. Okay, if I'm not having an answer, I could still give the answer. The
Okay,
writing in
Elizabeth, can I say something?
yes, Jean-Marie, please.
Okay, thank you. I think writing in university is different from outside because writing at university is so serious. But writing outside university, so my understanding, it looks a kind of
It looks kind of. Okay, thank you, Jean-Marie. Thank you, Jean-Marie. Writing in university is serious, but outside university may not be serious. And usually outside university, we write for communicative purposes. While in university, they are kind of writing to maybe make a record or to show learning. We've learned about this, so they write to show how much they've learned about that. Yes, Juvenal?
Thank you. Thank you very much. This question is really interesting. Actually, writing in university is different from outside university because in university, it's an academic writing, which means that, first of all, it is research-based, and normally it is aimed at solving a given problem. Secondly, at university, most of the cases you find it is more related to the domain of studies of a given student.
Yes.
And outside university, it's either you want to communicate the general meaning or conveying a certain idea to a community, or else you just want to convince an audience. And it can be also research based because you may also need to emphasize a given point, and you base on some statistics, of course. But normally at university, it is more academic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Juvenile. I agree with your submission. Let's move on to number 3. What kind of things do we think about when we are planning and creating a piece of writing? What kind of things do we think about when we are planning and creating a piece of writing? Say you're going to write a story, what would you think about? You're going to write maybe an essay, a report. What would you think about? Kavasha, please.
So thank you so much. I think, first of all, we have to think of the topic we want to write about.
Yes, topic.
And then after writing topic, then you have to gather ideas for sequence of your ideas.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yes, the other person who has raised a hand. Okay, thank you so much for your contribution. Let's move on to the answers that are documented. Number 1, we usually write emails, letters, texts, messages, lists, academic essays. That's if you're doing a study. And then in university, they mainly write to record and show learning. Outside university, it's mainly for communicative purposes. Maybe I have an issue or a complaint to forward to my boss or my employer, I will write a formal letter. If I'm writing to my friend, I'll write an informal letter. If I want to make a very quick urgent message to my colleagues that maybe I work with, I'll maybe make a text, a chat on WhatsApp or Facebook. So we write in different ways for communication purposes. Then the things we usually think about when we are planning and creating a piece of writing are who are we writing to? In other words, who is the audience? That really matters on the way we are going to kind of structure our writing. For example, if you're writing to a primary school student, or you're writing something for a primary school student, you will have to maybe look at the language you use so that they get your message. And it could be different from the way you would be writing to your colleague. So we really have to know who are we writing to, and then why are we writing? This is actually the driving force. Why are we writing? Are we writing for entertainment? Are we writing to inform? Are we writing to kind of throw more light on something, explain or clarify? There has to be a reason why we are writing. Then what our message is, we have to really think, what should the message be like? Actually, you should be having a topic already in mind, and it is the one you're going to build on. How long it needs to be. You're writing, your audience, in this case, matters a very big deal. How long should it be? Something very long should be for maybe people whose cognitive levels are really high, and then something shorter for people who are just getting into the system of reading and writing, or young people. So it depends on how your audience, how long it should be depends on your audience. Then what do we need to include also matters. So in our planning, some of these things should always, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Let's move on to skills and knowledge involved in writing. There are so many skills that we need to acquire before we get into writing, or as we proceed with the writing. Number one should be the sentence structure. This is how the basic grammatical elements, that is the subject, the predicate, and sometimes a direct or indirect objects of a sentence are put together. And there are four main types of sentences. We have the simple sentence, we have a compound sentence, we have a complex sentence, and we have a compound complex sentence. Whenever we are writing, it's always very good or advisable for us to not stick to just one type of sentences. Say you choose to write only the simple sentences. It is always good to vary your sentences to make your writing not to seem dull or kind of repetitive. When we mix sentence structures while we are writing, it gives rhythm to our writing and makes it, come out better. So that is one of the skills we should always consider. Then paragraph or essay structure. Paragraphs are very important. It's not like paragraphs are just divisions in a writing, but paragraphs are what put different points across to the reader, or the different ways in which we can package our information in different paragraphs. And above all, paragraphs should be consistent and clear. Each paragraph should explore a defined topic, gives evidence to inform an argument it has made about that topic. So paragraphs are very important. It should begin with a topic sentence and then evidence and more light, or you clarify on that point. It is always good to put a point in its own paragraph. And paragraphs ranging from between 4 to 6 lines are advisable. Then our writing should have cohesion. In other words, when one reads what we are writing or what has been written, they should be able to see the relationship flowing from, the relationship between the paragraphs. Like this paragraph leads to the other paragraph. You read and you can really grasp what the person is saying, what is usually called the flow in a writing. So cohesion is very important as well. Then the grammar. We really need to work on the grammar before you get, you kind of finalize your writing. We should do some editing to really see, is the grammar correct? Have I used all the parts of speech correctly, if there are pronouns, adjectives, the articles, even the sentence structure itself could fall under grammar. Then the spellings also matter a very big deal. At times, if we're not so sure of the spellings, it's always good to use a dictionary or, yeah, the dictionaries which are hard copies or the soft copies on internet. So it's always good to check out for spellings. Then how we use our words. Maybe you want to use a pronoun and you're beginning a sentence with a pronoun yet before you haven't told us about the noun. So how are we using the words? And then still this also applies to diction. What kind of words are you using? We should be very careful to consider the kind of language we choose, still depending on our audience. The diction matters, the word choice that we make while writing matters a great deal. Then the context in which we are writing. Maybe we want our students to write about Rwanda, then they should really be aware of what they're writing about and which kind of language matches with that context. Then the register, are you writing a formal document or an informal document? That should determine the kind of language you're using. If it's a formal writing, then we should stick to formal writing. Our children, our learners usually kind of mix language that doesn't really sound formal with language. For example, if they want to say, I want to go, and then they would say, I want to go. So they put that in writing as well. I usually tell them to mark a line between formal and informal writing. Like if you're writing a letter, then you can't put I wanna. You would rather put I would like to or I want to. So that is register. Those are some of the skills that we need to develop for us to have an effective kind of writing. Then activities for developing the writing skills. There are so many activities we can carry out with our learners to help them develop the writing skills. And before we get to the activities, I could say writing, unlike speaking, is not an ability we acquire naturally. If it's kind of, even when it's our first language, it has to be taught. Unless language two learners are explicitly taught how to write in the new language, their writing skills are likely to get left behind as their speaking progresses. So we usually throw more light on the speaking more than the writing, and yet it is good for them to go hand in hand. So we should endeavor to teach writing because they simply acquire the skill. They're not born with a skill, but they simply acquire the skill. So we need to throw more light on the writing skills. There are several ways to approach writing in the classroom. And it should be said at the beginning that there is not necessarily any right or best way to teach writing skills. However, these are some of the skills, these are some of the activities we could do in order to help our learners develop their writing skills. We could tell them to write stories or guide them on how to writing stories. It can even begin as early as the primary one, or even in pre-primary for them to write stories depending on how their level is, their cognitive levels anyway. Then they could do book or film reviews. They read a book and then they write a review about the book, how they feel about the book, what they like about the book, things like that. Then they could also maybe write brochures. These are kind of writings or leaflets that let us know about certain places. Maybe like here in Ramagan now we have Dereva Hotel. So there could be a brochure that tells us about Dereva Hotel, where we find it, the different services they offer, the times they open, and yeah, everything about the packages that they offer. That could be a brochure with pictures showing the different places in there. Then our students or learners could also write postcards or greeting cards, depending on that season of the year, For example, we have just ended the Christmas or festive season. They could have written greeting cards, sending to their friends, wishing them a Merry Christmas and a New Year, or writing a postcard to a friend who lives far off and they want to tell them about their country. We could teach our students how to write emails. This is very important. You find that our students still struggle a bit. You could tell them to write to you an email, and usually they don't maybe put a subject, or they put the subject in the body. So these are some of the key things we really need to throw light on as we help them develop their writing skills as well. Or they could write computer game instructions. They go through a computer game app and then they write instructions, or they come up with a computer game and kind of write instructions on how to use that computer game. In that way, they are developing their writing skills. Or they could learn how to, you could take them out and you tell them to look at the place around them and how they could maybe direct someone to their place or to their school while standing in a certain position. That would be direction giving, and then they write down the directions, like from my school, this is the direction you take, turn to the left, things like that. Different ways in which we develop the writing skill. That is why we say there is not any necessarily right or best way to teach writing. It's all about us being creative and coming up with something that would really help our students develop their skills. Just like when we started, we said there are so many ways we are writing these days. A text message, a chat, an email, a letter. Yeah. So we are using writing in our communities. We are using it now and again. So they really need to begin with those things and know how best they can write them. Number one, let's look at story writing. In case you're to take your students through story writing, what exactly should you do, or what exactly do you think they will need while writing a story? Before they begin the writing, ask the learners to tell you about stories they've already read. Who were the main characters, or who are the main characters in those stories? What are their names? Where do they live? What are they like? In other words, maybe their character traits, like they are kind people, they are generous. Like, what are those characters like? What problems or challenges do they meet? Those characters in those books, what challenges or problems do they meet? And sorry about that. What happens to the end? And then, excuse me, have a look at some real books with visually appealing covers and illustrations. After taking them through that, having them narrating to you the books they've read before and kind of giving you a book review of what they've read before. You can also come up with a book cover that is visually appealing and then ask them a lot about that, what they think about that book cover. By doing this, you're kind of triggering their interest in writing. They get interested in writing, and yeah. So that is one of the activities we could do still to develop our learners' writing skill. Then writing a brochure. We could do it in this way. You generate interest and ideas by showing your learners some examples of brochures for places in their country. For example, you can have a brochure for Akagera National Park or Nyungwe National Park. They have a look at it and kind of you go through with them. What do you see on this brochure? What do you think there are services they're talking about these people can offer? What time do they close? As in, look at the details of the brochure that you have presented to them. Then ask the learners if they would be interested in visiting the places on those brochures. Like we've given them, maybe we've shown them a brochure about Akagera National Park or Nyungwe National Park. Ask them if they would be interested in visiting those places and why. Because now they've looked at the brochure, so they should be in position to tell us why they think they have interest in visiting that place. And then maybe you presented to them those two brochures of Akagera National Park and Nyungwe National Park. Ask them which brochure they like best, and they should also be able to give you reasons why. Then identify some of the basic features of this genre, like this genre of a brochure. For example, lots of pictures. When they're going to make a brochure, they should put lots of pictures. Personally, I had this lesson of writing a brochure with my senior ones last term, that is third term. Sorry, first term. They wrote a brochure. They wrote brochures. I gave them liberty to choose anything they would like to write a brochure for or make a brochure for. And some of them wrote for different hotels, others the national parks, others the museums. And it was such a beautiful thing. And they had to include lots of pictures, make them very colorful. I provided colors, indicate the location of the place, write the contacts of those different places, the opening times. Then they had to put positive language, like amazing, the best place ever, wonderful. They had to come up with catchphrases, be very creative in their writing. Then they should also be explained too that they are going to write their own leaflet. After they've had a feel of what it looks like to have a brochure, what a brochure looks like, the different parts of a brochure, then they should be able to be ready to write their own leaflet or their own brochure. Then as a class, with your guidance, brainstorm some ideas of places they could make a brochure for. And then encourage them to be very imaginative and creative while making their brochures. Choose a simple idea and plan out the brochure together on board. Maybe drop boxes where they want pictures to go. Write keywords for where they want their information to go. And write where they want their contact to go. In this way, you're guiding them. Then learners now choose a place of their own. Maybe in this box, I'm going to draw a picture of this hotel. I'm going to draw a picture of this very nice restaurant. Yeah. Now the ball is in their court. Get them to plan out their brochure in their notebooks. Then you can also give them paper to make the real brochure now. Then your role now is to monitor and help where necessary. When the learners are finished, let them display their leaflets or their brochures around the room, and then encourage the other learners to kind of have a gallery walk, looking at the different brochures and giving some critical, constructive feedback, what they think about those brochures. They are enjoying the lesson and they're also learning a writing skill. Then they could also make greeting cards as another activity. Ask your learners when they send cards, like when do they ever send cards? If they've never been in that, if they've never sent cards, then maybe you could encourage them to use cards. But you should encourage them after teaching them the skills that they need to use while writing the cards. Write some ideas on the board, brainstorm some messages and greetings that they might write on the front and the inside of a card on different occasions. Ask them if there are any special occasions coming up amongst their friends or family. For example, a birthday, an anniversary, it could be a wedding anniversary of maybe their parents or their family friends, a name day, like a name day for a baby in the family, or perhaps it's a national holiday, which they could make a card for. If not, they could make a thank you card for someone, perhaps their teacher or anyone who has been of great help to them. So they should come up with different ways of writing a greeting card. It could be a greeting card, it could be a thank you card. Someone's birthday is coming forth, they get ready with a greeting card, or an anniversary. So you could guide them this and the kind of wording that they should put on So before I say thank you for listening in, maybe let me look at the chat and then we get back to objectives and see if
amakuru bararyamye.
yeah. Any questions, please? I thought there would be any kind of questions or supplements in the chat, but I don't see any. So any questions, please? Any supplements? By show of hands. Okay, there is a message coming in. By show of hands, please. Anyone to say anything? Okay, before I get to hear anyone coming in, reading is quite a very wide skill that cannot be handled in just 25 minutes. I think we shall go on and on with different sessions and with different people coming in to help with the different ways of handling the writing skill. I'm seeing thank yous here and there. You are welcome. Any supplements, please? Any questions? Do you think we have achieved our objectives? If we are to go back to the second screen. Second slide. By the end of this session, participants should be able to describe effective writing skills, describe activities one can use while teaching writing. Do you think we can now describe some effective writing skills? Do you think we can describe activities one can use while teaching? Back to the chat. Yes, great presenting and objectives achieved. Thank you, Linda. Okay, thank you so much for listening in. Thank you so much for your contributions. This marks my presentation.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. I saw somebody raising hands, but also I want to say that I was really excited to learn from you the tips and the strategies to teach writing. I loved too much the way we can use brochures just to help our students get interested in writing, showing them the pictures, showing them, for example, some touristic sites like national parks, and ask them some questions about that and ask them to write on that. What do they like there? And ask them why. So I think this will help me to motivate my students writing, just helping them to think, but using different kinds of like brochures and what. And I think they enjoy writing and using what they read, what they watched from the brochures. Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Thank you for providing the platform. Catch you another time. Pardon? You can also see.
I see there is somebody else who wants to say something. Nyiraneza Delphine.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm a Delphina from Bugesera. I wonder, for example, me, I'm the primary teacher. Sometimes we use body languages. How can you match something they are young, too young, match writing and body language? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. How can you match writing with body language? Actually, body language comes naturally, the gestures we use while we are speaking. And these young ones, those toddlers of ours, really need the body language. Like for you to be able to drive a point, you can even kind of demonstrate. If they want to see, maybe you're talking about a tree falling, you should kind of use your hands to show maybe the leaves, like the leaves of the tree, and then how it's falling. You almost fall with the tree that you're demonstrating. So that is how we can use body language to match writing. Like if they're really seeing this tree falling, they kind of try to figure out and scribble down something that looks like a tree falling. And usually whatever they draw, these young ones, you kind of appreciate because that is what they see in their own eyes. They are still young. So if for example, a kid draws a tree of 2 branches and another one draws a tree that has something that looks like a ball, you appreciate everything that they come up with because that is what they see at their level. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you very much, Elizabeth. And we are going to follow now Fred. But also there is another interesting suggestion from the chat where Innocent Dusawimana said that they are waiting from you to help us to match the British Council resources with the Rwanda Education Board resources. For example, Unity 3, the media, but the problem is that we don't know Unity 3 of which class, maybe senior 1, senior 2, senior 4, 5, 6, but the unit is Unity 3, the media. So I think we will keep using our platforms like WhatsApp and keep discussing and sharing. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you for everybody who asked the questions. Then Fred Kabanda, over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Fred.
Yes, thank you very much. I didn't know whether you are hearing me, and now I'm happy that now we are together. May I send, I want first to know whether you can see my screen, please. Can you see it?
Please share.
Yes, let me try, So sharing, you can request multiple, yes. Oh, please. Okay.
We cannot see your screen.
Cannot see, for sure. I understand. But I'm still struggling with the. Share.
Don't see anything.
Please, Marie, can you see my screen, please?
Sure.
Okay, thank you very much.
And another thing.
Yes, sir.
Are you please Zoom?
Yes, I'm on Zoom, of course.
Try to Zoom it.
Oh, okay. You mean you want me to increase the
Yes.
size?
Sure.
If you click on slideshow at the top and then from beginning, then it will go to full screen. Slideshow at the top.
Okay,
on the top line.
So Fred.
You see that?
Fred.
Yes, sir. I'm hearing you, please.
So
That's what I'm.
up, you see home. insert, design, transition, animation, then slideshow.
We have up.
Yeah, you go up, keep up. Okay, okay.
Translation,
Yes.
slideshow.
Yes.
Then
click, then
yeah.
go to from beginning.
From the beginning, yes, from
Yes.
beginning. Yeah, I can see. Yes, wonderful.
Okay.
That's okay.
Great.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry. I am by names of Frederick Kabanda. Sometimes so Kabanda Fred. So I would like to thank everybody who is participating in this webinar, and also to thank my colleague Chirabo. Thank you very much. Flowers Chirabo. Thank you for that wonderful presentation. And now here, I'm going to talk about listening skills. So the title of this presentation is Mastering Listening Skills, a comprehensive approach to English language communication. Yeah. I tried also to show sources where you can go. My colleagues, you can take that link immediately if you want, and then you put in Google, and then if you have a computer which is connected, you can use. So you will get all these materials that we are going to be presenting from British Council. Okay. First of all, before I go, maybe before I dive into the full presentation, I like us to skill in communication, in as far as communication is concerned, that this is the first skill. I don't know whether I'm wrong, but when you start from the childhood, from the childhood, because the psychologists tell us that a kid starts listening or hearing some voices, or starts to communicate with the outside, the external world, when it is still in the womb of their mother. Now they can communicate with the outside world. They can hear voices. They can do what. So listening skill, it's the first skill that any human being acquires before any other skill. I don't know whether I'm wrong. I don't have much. Actually, I did not do the research about this, but that's what I think that it is. Yeah. I tried to introduce this. Of course, all these materials are going to help us as ATEL teacher, I mean the members of ATEL and even others outside there, because we shall have to help them if we acquire this knowledge, because we have this chance of meeting with the British Council, and then he gave us this material. So please, we are not going to keep them with ourselves, but also we need to share them with the others. So as dedicated members of ATEL, okay, this presentation offers a crucial professional development opportunity to enhance our collective teaching strategies in listening skills, drawing from authoritative British Council resources. We synthesize expertise from leading communication researchers, including Rachel Jeffries, John Field, and So this session is specifically designed to transform our theoretical understanding into practical communication strategies that will directly improve listening instructions in our schools, ultimately empowering our students' English language comprehension and communication abilities. And this is a common problem even to us teachers here in Rwanda. We have this problem of listening, and people who have recently attended the exams that were given by MFOTRA, those who wanted to join the government schools, you saw how important listening skill was, because it was really examined and many people failed because of listening skill, even though other skills also were examined. So it will be very important to us. Now, let us think about this before we go. Continue. There are 3 points as usual. One, how often do you consciously practice listening in English? What challenges do you face when listening to native English speakers, like on YouTube, like when we are listening to the news? So, okay, challenges, you know the challenges. Can you recall in a time when poor listening led to a misunderstanding? And you know, we all have these problems. I don't want answers right now, but I want just us to think about this as we think, as we try to look at the listening skill, listening skills, maybe knowledge that we're going to get here. Now, understanding listening skills. Let us define before. Listening is an active process of receiving constructive, meaningful, meaning from and responding to spoken and all to non-verbal messages. Of course, you need to listen, need to get information, and then you respond. Without listening, without knowing what you are going to respond to, I know that you cannot be able. So, sources, we can look here. Yeah, on British. So the objective, some objectives of this presentation, teachers, number 1, understand listening skill fundamentals, some fundamentals of listening skill. Explore listening strategies, stages. Number 3, identify listening barriers. Number 4, develop improvement strategies. Okay. Yeah, it's these objectives at the end of this presentation. We will have already exhausted or tried to see and to find themselves in these objectives or getting knowledge. So we have this content lineup. We have like 6 points that we're going to talk about. So understanding listening skills, the type of listening skills, stages of listening skill. So in stages of listening skill, we are going to see this, then barriers to effective listening, and then number 5, listening improvement strategies, and then number 6, we have conclusion. So listening skills, understanding listening skills. So we can just break, like you have the other general definition, but here we have some like a simple definitions: active, and then active process of receiving, constructing, and responding to spoken messages. So that was the general definition, but here we can have some different definitions of listening skill or of listening. So involves comprehension, interpretation, and reflection. These are some of the components or some of the components, some of the parts of listening skill. Have comprehension, interpretation, and reflection. Yes. These are just internal internal moves that take place in our minds when we hear information. We need first to comprehend, to understand, and then we interpret it, we know the meaning, and then also reflect about it. So before we respond, we always reflect about what we are going to say. Yeah. So types of listening skills. The author who just tried to talk about this, John Feld, an applied linguistics researcher. Actually, I wanted just to show you these authors and to give you these links, and maybe some of you don't have time to go and make a research, but then when you go and type these authors, you immediately get the information. So number one, we have comprehensive listening. Number two, critical listening. Number three, empathetic listening. So we have different subtypes, like understanding, like number one, comprehensive listening. We understand the complete messages, like example, lecture, comprehension. Yes, someone will talk and then you comprehend, you understand what they are saying. So this one, you just understand, you are objective, you objectively understand what they are saying. But then number two, have critical listening. Analyze and evaluate messages. That sometimes when we listen to the message and then have time to criticize, to think, what did they want to talk about? Okay, example, debate or scientific presentation. So when you are debating or when we are talking with somebody, of course, you need to respond. So you need to think critically to grasp the message that they are giving you, and then you respond, like in debate. So they always wait for your response. In comprehensive listening, like understanding a complete message, like maybe lecture comprehension, sometimes you may not respond. So it's like taking the message the way they have given to you. And this will take us back to the knowledge acquisition with the other, I don't know, I have forgotten the other author who wrote about the language in education, about the knowledge acquisition. A Bloom taxonomy. We have comprehension, we have understanding, we have you have all those stages. So for comprehensive listening, the first step. Then second step is the critical listening, where you need to think, you need to respond. Then number three, we have empathetic listening, so understanding emotional context. So there's sometimes when you listen to somebody and you listen actively, but again, you have some emotions. You try to involve yourself in the message or in the information that you are getting from that person. So it's like you listen to somebody, but then you put yourself in their shoes. So you have those emotions that will help you to understand or to listen to them. So have understanding emotional context, examples, personal conversations. So skill, emotional intelligence, that's the skill that we involve. Now, listening skills, here, stages of listening. We have some stages of listening here. Ladies and gentlemen, I have not exhausted the types of listening skill. We have just talked about 3, but there are other more types. But when you visit this website, or and these are the most common that we can get. So maybe you could get other types, but let us talk about these 3. So now we have some stages of listening. We have this author, Nehemiah, Cambridge English Assessment. And then stage number one, have pre-listening stage. Pre-listening stage involves prepare mentally, predict content, set listening purpose, then active background knowledge. So when someone tells you, for instance, that I want to talk to you, there's something that I want to share with you. We always have friends. Or even in our classes, when you tell a student to stand up and deliver a certain message, so there are some things that come into your minds. Mentally, you need to prepare yourself to listen to that person. So you predict the content. If your friend says that I have this information for you, please let us meet at this time. So here, you are always curious. You want to know what that person is going to tell you. So we have also set listening purpose. These are parts of listening. And I am sure I know what you know what I'm talking about. So active background knowledge. So while listening, this is when now you are going to listen. So someone told you that I want to tell you something. For instance, it's an example. So you were there alert waiting for that person to tell you. Now time has come when you are going to listen. So pay full attention, identify main ideas, recognize contextual cues or choose, manage cognitive load. So these are some of the stages. If someone, we have what to call active listening. Active listening, if you are listening from somebody, someone wants to share with you something. If you want to get that information, you pay full attention in order to get the message. So whatever they say, whatever they talk, might not be your area of interest, or whether they are not the part of your message that you want. You identify many ideas. So you may take like 2 hours talking, but again, the ideas that you wanted to get from that maybe for 30 minutes, for 30 minutes. So please, you can get some, yes. And then there's some contextual, the context in which that person is trying to talk, in which that person is, the message is. So we have some also to think about the context and then manage cognitive load. How are you going to process that message? Of course, before even responding, you hear many things, and then how are you going to process that message? How are you going to answer that message? So these are some mental movements or some mental processes that go on in your minds when you listen to somebody. You have known the context, and then you try to contextualize also in your own situation before you answer. So here we are talking about listening only. It's not speaking. So it's just giving the message, and acquiring the message, listening to the message. So stage number 3 is the post-listening stage. So you have heard someone, or you have heard, there was presentation, like guys, if I'm saying this, you can also try to give an example. I've been waiting for me to present. Maybe some of you members know me and others don't know me, but maybe they have been thinking about what I'm going to talk. And then here I'm talking. You are trying to get this message of mine, you are listening. And thank you for listening to me. And then after this, we are going also to have a post-listening stage. That's going to be after I have spoken, after I have presented. So that's just an example. So verify comprehension, critically reflect, summarize key points, apply learned information. So here, then whatever I have spoken, whatever I'm saying might not be crucial to you, might not be important to you. So you're going to know whether, did he really Fred, what I had, did he say what I had, or maybe he meant something else. So that's verification of comprehension, and then critically reflect if whether what I'm saying is true, is right, and then summarize key points. In 40 minutes, what I'm going to say, I'm telling you, I'm not going to take everything. Just I'm trying to give the examples to listen, maybe to know, to understand well. Just a live example, what that we're using now. And then apply learned information. From here, teachers, if you get something new from my presentation, you are going to use it in your classes. Let's say, Fred said these stages, maybe my students are facing this problem and this problem. So if I use this strategy, if I know that these students are on this stage, now I'm going to apply this knowledge. So this is part of post listening. So you apply. So we have some barriers to effective listening, of course, like Dr. Elizabeth Richardson, communication studies says. So if you want to know much more about this, you go and type Dr. Elizabeth, you'll get. So number one, we have physical barriers. Physical barriers like a background noise, poor audio quality, physical discomfort. Now as I'm listening, I don't know where you are. It's like example, I don't know where you are. You might not understand what I'm saying because some information will be broken down and then you get some parts and other parts. Okay, in class, when students are shouting, there is much noise in a class. I'm telling you, students cannot listen to you. They cannot listen to what you are giving them. So, poor audio quality, then I don't know whether we can talk about this audio that we are talking about, but also even a person, just if you are hearing from someone, no, it's not a gadget, no, but it's just a physical person. It's not easy to understand if they have a bad quality of voice. If someone is whispering, it's a type of, I'm trying to show it live. It's a type of quality, bad quality of audio. Someone doesn't hear you, someone is whispering with bad voice. But now when we're using gadgets like audio, here now, if I'm not, if you don't have good quality of audio, you won't listen, you won't get the message. Physical discomfort, what is it now? When you talk about physical discomfort, we do have, if maybe you are sick, for instance, you are sick, your ears have some problems, you have some problems with the eye, with healthy. So I don't know whether here you cannot get well the message. We have some students with disabilities in our classes, in everyday life, in everyday work. So we always get a hard time to make them listen. If they don't have special attention, we always oblige them to sit in front so that they can get what we teach them. Then you have psychological barriers. Reconceived notions, and I know you understand, emotional state, lack of concentration, most especially because of disabilities, have what you call teachers when you are studying this with the students of disabilities, maybe of concentration. You can help me remember how we call this. Maybe in the comments, I don't know whether you're going to put this with the lack of concentration, students who don't want to sit down. Teacher is there, maybe it will help me to know. And other teachers, how do we call this in psychology? So emotional state. Someone is not okay emotionally, they will not be able to listen what you are saying. Maybe someone is angry, someone is crying, or someone is sometimes happy. If someone is laughing, someone is not concentrated, I'm telling you, they won't be able to listen what you are saying. So have cultural barriers, communication style differences, language accents, nonverbal interpretation. So we have different types of communication in our cultures. I heard some people that if you use one finger, like use one finger, I don't know whether I can. Shamari, I would like to be to put on my video. Shamari, are you getting me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I wanted to put on my video, but because I have full screen, I don't know whether you're going to see me. I wanted just to show you if there are some cultures when you use one finger and then maybe you communicate something else, like languages, sign languages, like, these signs using your body. So that also can be associated with the cultures. And then when I communicate this, another person gets another something else. So I have a language accents. Like last time, I gave you an example when I talked about a nurse, just meaning someone, the health worker, someone, nurse, you know them. But I said nurse. So people did not get me, please, because they didn't know really what I was saying. Maybe it was because of the accents and maybe pronunciation of some vowels. So this is also another culture barrier. When you go to India, when an Indian speaks and then a Rwandan speaks, I'm telling
Where are
you,
you coming
those
from?
people will be quite
You are
different.
invading our staff room.
Pardon? Jean-Marie, are you saying anything? Something, please. Jean-Marie?
Fred, you may continue.
Okay. Are you hearing me, please?
Sure.
Okay. So we have non-verbal interpretation, as we say, the way we use some signs, and they are quite different. So listening improvement strategies. So we can improve this listening skill, like Adrian Thompson tries to tell us in the IELTS listening expert. Then we have active listening techniques. I say that we have this word stop. Stop. So I have number one, yes. Sorry, this must be, I did not write the words you have here. Stop. Yes, we have focus completely. Yes, take observation. Take information. That's when you observe. So you observe information. You observe what you stop instead of talking. You just focus on what you are being told. Someone is talking to you. Please don't talk. So taking is when you observe information. Yes. Try to see, you observe. Sometimes it may not require you to listen, but also to look at the person, because it is not always that delivering information is talking. No, sometimes use signs. So try to focus and absorb information. You try to observe and then absorb it. You are listening, and then also you are focusing, and then you take to understand, you absorb the information. Then not on observation, you note verbal and non-verbal cues, of course. You focus, of course, you observe, and then absorb information. And then for the observation, you need to hear whether this person is using verbal or non-verbal communication. There might be some signs. So it needs you to concentrate. So proceed after grasping the information, after you have taken in and have absorbed it with that big, much focus, and then you know which type of communication they have used, and then you proceed on responding. So it's like here, we always have that saying, that we need to hear before talking. So also before responding, before doing anything, first of all, we need to concentrate and hear actively. So we have some practical exercises here, like podcasts and the audio resources. Yeah, you know, on YouTube, we are always recommended to use these audios. You go listen and then you listen again. You know, we have video with the subtitles. You put on video or audio. You just get some subtitles where you can see written words. So you listen, you first exercise yourself to know whether you have understood the correct information, and then you go on just observing the subtitles. So we have language exchange partnerships. Yes. Yeah, sometimes you have, like at school, we used to say, now we are going to talk, we are going to converse in English. So we always, it's like you give yourself some exercise. It's like you give yourself mandate, you say, now, from today onwards, no more Chinyarwanda, no more vernacular we're going to be using English. So also we can continue working with the English native speakers, like Linda. When you have Linda is your friend, and they say we're going to have an exchange. So I'm sorry, Linda, I have used that as an example, but also with the other friends of ours from English native speakers. So have mind for listening practice, as we always do on internet, using audios, using videos, using different channels just to practice. So in classes also, what I tried to employ for me, I tried to employ dictation. When I have much time for my students, write on the chalkboard. I don't give them notes. I can just read to them and try to write what I have given to them. So I got it as sometimes it was a bit hard when we started, because they used to resist and say, no, please, for us, we are used with our teachers writing on the chalkboard, but for you, you are reading, you don't understand what you are reading. So I told them, please, this is now time to concentrate. So it helps also in our schools when we dictate them by giving notes, but not all notes, because they can write mistakes only. So this also can be practical exercise that we use. And these 4 ones, you teachers, you always use them, I know. But now let us put it even in our classes for the for the schools with the facilities that can help. If you have like projectors, you have like machines, computers with the full network, please, you can try to help our students, and that's part of our curriculum, CBC. As I conclude, listening is a skill requiring continuous practice. And then approach listening actively and intentionally. Embrace diverse listening experiences. So this also can summarize what we have said. You have to acquire these skills as a continuous process. You listen today, you listen tomorrow. Here you see whether you have listened to the right information. When you look at the subtitle, you find that you have listened to something else, and then you continue. So then also good listening also it requires a concentration, active so that you can grasp the message that you get, and then also have different types of listening experience because of the different accents, because of language barriers, as you have said, like a cultural barrier and whatever. So we need also to embrace all these types of listening skills. We have some reflection questions, please. What challenges do you currently face when teaching listening skills, teachers? And are there specific listening techniques that have worked well in your classroom? And we adapt these British Council strategies to our local educational context? So I don't know that we are going to have much time to answer these questions, but if I could give an opportunity to you colleagues, at least to have like 1, 2 people, because time has run out. And Mr. Jean-Marie, I don't know whether I'm wrong. And then maybe we go on with the winding up our presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fred. Thank you very much for your presentation. I think there is the slide, this slide with the reflection questions is here, and everybody is free just to give some to give the feedback, to ask questions. I think you are here just to answer. Please, if you have any comment, any question, feel free to raise your hand and ask questions, or just give your feedback.
Yeah, Jean-Marie, just a quick reminder for the people who might be having some answers, please. It's not all about asking the question. There are some people who are there just to answer or to react because I'm not an expert more than the rest of our teachers. It's just an opportunity that I got to present. So you are there and then you see something to add on, maybe to react. That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, I can see Samsung SM, and please, Samsung, tell us your name. We need to rename you, because it's good to be here presenting ourselves with our names. Then you raised your hand, please. You can open your microphone and tell us your name.
My name is Mnaworo Pierre Celestin.
Okay.
I'm in the district. I have a suggestion about listening skill. The challenges that we met with. We have a question that tells us, what challenges do you currently face when teaching listening skills? The problem that we met with, the English speakers speak with speed, so that the and also other people who do speech are not aware of that speed. Maybe the problem is about the speed of the speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Celestine. Thank you very much. Others? Bernadette Mukarugambga, please.
Okay, thank you so much for your wonderful presentation. I'm Bernadette from Gichumbi COP. The problem that I met in teaching skills, firstly, is the lack of resources. It is not easy for us to find the audio resources from which we can teach listening skills. So To do that, we make a self-arrangement by making ourselves audio. And as you see, our pronunciation, our pronunciation of English is not good because we have grown up in a Francophone system. So if possible, the British Council can help us to get these audio resources from which you can teach listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bernadette. Please visit the website that we provided. There are listening resources. There are podcasts. And the podcasts, if you find the podcasts there, the podcasts means that they are digital audio and the video files recorded, and usually they can be downloaded from the website, and you can save them on your computer. So there are many. Please visit the website. You will get them interesting. Thank you very much for the question, Bernadette.
Okay, thank you.
Emmanuel Nizeyimana.
Thank you very much. Are you getting me now? I hope you get me. So I'm Emmanuel, and I wanted to comment on what you come from saying about listening. Really, listening is very good because it has with different importances, like communicating and understanding what others are saying to us. When listening, we can build the trust and we can resolve some conflict among listening is something really very important in our daily life because it can also improve our relationships. I appreciate so much the way this presentation has been conducted. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. And I'm trying to read from the chat. Wenimana Jean Moise said that he encourages the teachers to learn the phonology in order to help them to know how to pronounce those words, and also help listeners to listen accurately. So
excuse me.
Yes, please.
Just it's not interrupting you, Jean-Marie. I'm Vedaste Wineza from Ohuye COP.
Yes, please.
I've been following this good presentation from Frederick, and I had a question I wanted to ask. I don't know if Linda is really listening to us direct or she's going to listen to this if it is recorded.
So is Linda going to answer, or the question is asked to Fred?
Can they give me the answer which can, just Fred can tell me something else to do, which is also positive somehow, but Linda can help me direct.
Okay.
Know what to do or to know the way. See, about this listening, because I teach in primary English, and I've been trying to develop the listening of our learners using such audio, videos, all resources that Frederick told us are there at school, and I like to use them with learners. So I wanted to know the way I can meet such native speakers of English like Linda to work with my learners to make sure that the listening has been developed or it still needs something to improve. That is my question. If Linda is listening, you can tell me the way we can meet face to face with
Can
my
I
learners.
answer that? I am listening, and I'd like to answer that question. Is that okay? I think that it's more important to listen to non-native speakers of English nowadays, because there are a lot more non-native speakers speaking English in the world. So, it's good practice to listen to everyone, including native speakers of every country, but please don't value native speakers from the UK and US, for example, above other speakers of English. More people in the world speak English from different nationalities than to people from English or American nationalities. So please value listening to everybody who is communicating in English, everybody from other African countries, from Asian countries, because this is the future that your students will need to listen to. And we just need a lot of practice in listening to everybody speaking English. And now, today in 2025, we have the opportunity to do that through the internet, and we can listen to as many people as we want. Is that okay?
Thank you very much, Linda.
Thank you very much, Linda. That is helpful. When you were explaining this, it reminded me when I went to a fellowship in the United States, and I was with the 22 fellows from different countries, from 22 countries, and everybody was having a particular accent. Then it required me just to pay attention and just get familiar with everybody, because that this is the diversity, because English is used in all the categories of life, in the business, in everywhere in the world. So thank you very much, Linda. We need to get familiar with the many different nationalities when they are speaking English. Thank you.
Yes, and the time for the superiority of English and American versions has passed. That is gone. And now we are all equal in our accents, in our type of English. The most important thing is that we have to speak clearly. So if you try to speak and train your students to speak as clearly as possible, then everyone will understand and the whole world will understand each other. So clarity, I think, is key. Great webinar, by the way, from both presenters.
Okay, thank you very much. I can read from Bernard Musigende. Thank you, Musigende. Thank you very much for the presentation. Benimana Jean-Moïse said good presentation, Brother Fred. That you agree with him. So Vincent is requiring practice more in listening as a sort to improve listening skills. Then Munyabuhoro said the serious problem that we meet with different pronunciations that we are not familiar with. Emmanuel, it's good to listen, to understand, apply what is needed to applied. So thank you very much. If we don't have other questions or any other compliments, thank you very much, dear presenters. Dear Elizabeth, thank you very much for your good presentation. Fred, thank you very much. And everybody, including Linda, who helped us just to bring more input. So thank you very much, teachers of English. So we are very sorry for everybody who tried to join and was not successful. We know this challenge, and that's why we are sharing with you, or or the recordings and the slides, so that you can just keep sharing them with other teachers who were not able to join today. So thank you very much. I think see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Okay, thank you and goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you very much. The same to you, Jean-Marie.
There are people who are suggesting to have a group photo. Would you please open your videos and just wave, say bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Okay, bye everybody.
Okay. So everybody.
I love you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, teachers of English.
Bye.
Thank you, guys, teachers of English.
I love you all.
Thank you, Linda. See you next time. It's
See
really
you.
amazing to see you.
See you.
See you.